Hello, we are continuing our exposition of the life and teaching of William Branham, this Pentecostal preacher in the 30s, 40s, and 50s in the United States. And we have already exposed how William Branham changed his middle name from Marvin to Marrion. We're going to delve deeper into it, and we're going to talk more about other things that William Branham talked about. Let's take first of all a close look at where we left off last time. William Branham therefore claimed that like Prophet Abraham, whose name contains 7 letters, now notice that this is in English, not in Hebrew, he too, William Branham, has 7 letters in all his name, his first name, middle name, and last name. So you can notice here William has 7 letters. Branham has 7 letters. This is symbolic, but he thinks this symbolism basically authenticate his prophethood, his status as a prophet of God. But since his middle name, notice this is his real middle name, and we have official document of his birth certificate, which is in Jeffersonville, Indiana today, that you can take a look at, and we have access to this official document. He changed it from Marvin to Marrion, and notice Marrion, you can have Marrion with 1 R and Marrion with double R. But so for it to match the 7 letter symbolism, he changed it to 2 R. Okay, so that it became 7 letter name to match this his divine, so-called divine calling of a prophet. But let's take a close look at his birth certificate. As you can see on the screen, you see here his first name, William. Now notice in the middle name, it's not Marrion, it's Marvin, because this birth certificate is dated from 1940. Okay, and you can see here his birth date is April 6, 1909. And we've seen previously that he changed multiple times his birth year. Okay, sometime 1908, 1907, 1909. Who knows? But here we have an official certificate. And notice something peculiar in this certificate. It says here he has scars within each leg. You remember I mentioned that he was shot when he was young because he was involved in criminal activities selling liquor at a time where it was forbidden in Indiana because his dad was involved in it, including delivering liquor to Al Capone and all his cronies. Okay? And when he was hospitalized, he received his bill, hospital bill was paid by the Ku Klux Klan. And everybody knows this is a terrorist organization in the United States, and William Branham somehow is involved with this organization. And we'll come back to that. Hold on to that. But notice here first how he changed his middle name from Marvin to Marrion so it can match his so-called prophetic calling. Now let's take a look at this this idea that he is a prophet of God. Branham did not realize that his manipulation of his middle name, okay, would be caught in this Gen AI generation. Okay. First of all, William Branham said, like Abraham, he has 7 letters in his name. First of all, Abraham is an English name. Okay, it's not a Hebrew name. But in Hebrew, Abraham is less than 7 letters. Now, I'm not a Hebrew expert, but because we have trusted sources, we're going to go there and take a close look at what the Hebrew name is of Abraham. Okay, let's take a close look here. Genesis 12, you remember when God was calling Abraham for the first time, asking him to get out of Ur of Chaldea in Mesopotamia, Iraq, and to go into the promised land. And by the way, at that time, his name was not Abraham, it was Abram. It was Abraham, but Abram. Let's see, verse 1 said, now the Lord has said unto Abram, let's see what the Hebrew name for Abram is. It's this term here, as you can see in Hebrew, 1, 2, 3, 4 letter at most. But William Branham is telling us, like Abraham, he has 7 letters. But Abraham did not have 7 letters in his Hebrew name. That's the first problem. And you remember Abraham changed his name from Abram to Abraham, right? Let's see now Genesis 18 verse 6. And here his name has changed now from Abram. It's Abraham, or Abraham if you want, in Hebrew. So if we count the number of letters in Hebrew, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at most. But William Branham is telling us, no, we have 7 letters for his name. And that is a problem. Okay? The second problem with that manipulation. He claimed he's a prophet like Moses. And we'll come back to it. He said, like Moses was given 2 signs, him, Branham, was also given 2 signs for his gift of healing. And that's what so many Branhamists believe, claiming that he has healed so many people. But we document those to show you this is a false prophet. He did not heal a single person. It was all fraud, and it has been exposed. But many Branhamists are blinded. They don't want to see the fact. They don't want to see the evidence, but we're going to present it here. Okay, so you can see these are false claims. He has no gift of healing, but he say he's like Moses. But again, Moses, even in English, is not 7 letters, let alone in Hebrew. So does it mean because Moses doesn't have 7 letters, he's not a prophet of God? We know, if you're a Christian, you know that Moses, one of the greatest prophets that ever lived. Okay? And let's take a look at his record here, the Hebrew for Moses. This is what we have in Exodus 4, precisely. It says here, Moses, that's his name, Moshe in Hebrew. Now notice how many letters we see, 1, 2, 3 at most, or 4. Okay? That's what we have in Hebrew. But William Branham said he's a prophet like Moses. But Moses does not have 7 letters. And that poses problem to the Branhamists who are clinging to what Branham is saying. That's a major issue here. Another claim that William Branham made. He said when he was 3 years old, 3 years old. Now, do you know any prophet, Jewish prophet in the Bible that we know, a true prophet of God, who received a revelation at year 3? None. It's not Daniel, it's not Ezekiel, it's not Jeremiah, it's not Isaiah. They receive it in their adult age. Daniel, probably the exception, when he was young, maybe 16, 18, he received that gift of being able to interpret dreams. Okay? But not at 3 years old. But William Branham claimed God told him, or the angel who he sent, you will live in a city called New Albany. First of all, at 3 years old, how would you know where New Albany is? How would you know this is what God said? You're a little child. And that's why God does not send revelation to 3 years old. And that same year, he said, his family left rural Kentucky to Jeffersonville. Again, his idea that he was born in rural Kentucky in a cabin, small cabin, claiming, but no. The evidence that we have, the documentation, the newspaper, are showing he grew up in Jeffersonville, which is he's a city boy, but he's claiming to be a rural boy whom God took from nowhere and raised him to the status of a prophet. And prophet in the end time. He is the prophet of the end time. That's why he made his followers believe. But we know he's a false prophet, and that's why we're exposing him here so the whole world can know. So the Branhamists who are following him across the world, including the United States, they can realize the deception he has put them into. Okay? That's one claim. Another claim. Let's look at the last claim. He said when he was 7 years old, he received another vision of a bridge now linking Louisville in Kentucky to Jeffersonville in Indiana. And notice what he said. He said he saw 16 people, and he want to be precise to say that he's a true prophet. But we're going to see when we look at the evidence, the newspaper, the fact, the document. During its construction, but Branham alleged that 22 years after he received that vision, it came to pass. That vision came to pass. Meaning, 16 people were dead, drowned into the river, the Ohio River. But this is problematic. First of all, he said 22 years after that vision. So that vision, if he was born in 1909, let's do the math. 1909, if you add 22 years, that means when he was 7 years old, right? So when he was 7 years old, from 1909 plus 7, that's 1916. 1916, if you add 22 years, that's 1938. Okay? That's where the vision was supposed to be fulfilled. But this very bridge, the people who died after its construction was in 1929. So he's literally 11 years or 10 years off from what he claimed. The vision told him, the angel, whatever, 22 years it's going to come to pass. So that's the first problem, the duration. The second problem, he says 16 people died and they were drowned. No, the record show only 2 people were killed during the construction in 1929. Okay, and we have evidence that I'm going to present to you. But he says 16 people. Not only did he say 60, the number is wrong, but second thing, these people drowned. No, the people who died will die in the bridge. They did not die drowned into the Ohio River. Another false claim. If you're Branhamist and you still believe what William Branham is saying, this only fact that he got this prophecy wrong with multiple attestation should make you realize you're dealing with a false prophet. Just as simple as that. You don't need any further proof. There is not one single prophet of God, Jewish prophet in the Bible, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Isaiah, who had one prophecy that did not come to pass. And that is not, the specific prophecy came to pass specifically. Why? Because it was coming from God. But William Branham did not hear from God. He heard from another angel who disguised himself as an angel of light. But we know who he is. And he misled him, and he misled millions of people. And if you, Branham, is following me, I want you to pay attention to this thing and go back to God's word and not to William Branham. And I'm going to finish. We're going to go back to God's word because that's where you're going to find the truth. Not in the sermon that William Branham has told you he received this revelation. None of that is true. And we're going to go to the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew chapter 24, where Jesus Christ with his disciples in the Mount of Olives, Jesus Christ they came to him. Okay? He departed from them, and disciples came to him to show him the building. And Jesus Christ said unto them, see you not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And we see evidence of that when we go to Jerusalem. Today, these stones are still there. Amazing after 2,000 years. Verse 3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciple came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, the end time? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? William Branham tells us he's the prophet of the end time that God has sent. But listen to what Jesus Christ is saying to false prophet like William Branham. Verse 4, and Jesus answered and said to them, take heed, pay attention, okay, that no man deceive you, and no woman. Here you can also put, if they are false prophet who are women, no human being deceive you, because William Branham is one of those people who deceive millions. Jesus Christ said, take heed, because false prophets are going to come. This prophecy that Jesus Christ made came to pass in the life of William Branham and many other false prophets that we're going to talk about. Joseph Smith, or the Jehovah Witness Russell, his name I forgot, Russell, the Jehovah Witness guy. All these other false prophets who came, he said, many shall come in my name. They will claim to be speaking in the name of God. William Branham did that, saying, I'm Christ. William Branham even claimed more than being Christ. He said he did more miracles than Jesus Christ and his disciple combined. And they will deceive many. And if you're a Branhamist, you're one of those people that are deceived, and this prophecy is being fulfilled as we're speaking. You're being deceived. So go back to God's word and read it, meditate upon it, instead of relying on those false prophecies, those false claims that William Branham made. I'm going to stop here. In our next video, William Branham claimed he received 2 signs like the prophet Moses. And we're going to delve deep into this to understand that false prophet, that false claim that William Branham made. Let's expose him as a false prophet who deceived millions of people. Stay tuned. Thank you for your attention. May God bless you.